Author, politico, and social activist James Baldwin once said, "To accept one's past, one's history, is not the same thing as drowning in it. It is learning how to use it." An invented past can never be used. It cracks and crumbles under the pressures of life like clay in a season of drought. This is Jackson Ward in Richmond, Virginia, as it stands today. Much of this once prosperous and industrious Negro neighborhood lies flattened to the ground or ready to be redeveloped as a parking lot. In the early 20th century, the 1920s to be exact, money and music flowed through these streets like a river. It was the Harlem of the South, a stop on the Chitlin Circuit, the name for stops in the South where Negro entertainers played, danced, and sang. But what many do not know is that Jackson Ward was also the Black Wall Street. This city within a city had its own economic market where products and services were for, by, and about the people. Black Wall Street was alive and thriving. The Roaring Twenties was a time of fast living, quick money, and merriment. An irony in and of itself, as this was the time in American history known as Prohibition. With the passage of the 18th Amendment, the government had outlawed the sale and distribution of alcohol. But where there is a will, there is a way. Like many cities across this great nation, Jackson Ward had no shortage of clever men and women who would find a way around this law. Drinking, partying, dancing in Johnson Hall, and in their homes listening to hot jazz music, gambling in alleys, use of guns, as Virginia had loose gun laws then and now, all contributed to loose living in Jackson Ward in the 20s. As a city within a city, in some ways isolated from the city of Richmond because of Jim Crow and segregation, residents of the Deuce found that the laws of the land did not hold their best interest in mind. If they were going to survive, they were going to have to create their own businesses and services, and they were going to have a good time doing it. The local newspaper, the Richmond Planet, was filled with headlines and stories of bootlegging, gambling, and even murder.
That is your problem down there, gentlemen. This city is not going to waste its time on that.
Now, Sheriff Mason, it's your job to solve the murders down here now. It's affecting business.
Now, mine it ain't.
Preston? Sheriff Mason, what about the fact that 2 women have been viciously murdered? You've got to put some men on the street to protect us women folk, Sheriff.
I think our business is done here, Miss Jones. Let's be on our way.
Now, listen to that boy. Don't be going back down that wall starting no stuff. We need to keep the peace around here. Now, don't we?
It's already been interrupted, Sheriff Mason.
Who killed Annie Hilks? Could there be a serial killer amongst us? Poor girl. The way he killed her. Local Negro nurse found dead. No. We mustn't cause a panic. The Deuce deserves better than that. Big boss Sheriff Mason abandons the ward to a killer. That might work. He won't help us, then we'll just have to help ourselves. How about justice will prevail in the deuce? Yes, that's it.
It sits 3 blocks down 2nd Street, or the Deuce as it was commonly known, and just a few yards down from the intersections of Lee and 2nd Street. Home to countless Negro entertainers of the early 20th century, such as Cab Calloway and Bill Bojangles Robinson, the Hippodrome Theater was the heart of Jackson Ward, thus its marking as the Harlem of the South. Originally built as a vaudeville and movie theater in 1904, it would become the central meeting spot for the people of Jackson Ward and the visitors who would come for hundreds of miles to perform here. A stop on the Chitlin Circuit, the name for the string of performance venues on the eastern, southern, and the upper Midwestern areas of the United States that were deemed safe for African American entertainers to perform during this era of racial segregation. Sadly, it would close its doors in 1945 due to a fire. But the Hippodrome would not remain closed for long. It would reopen and remain so, operating fully as a movie theater from the 1950s into the 1980s. In 2011, this grand building would undergo a renovation to restore it back to its former glory. And today, it is an entertainment and music house once again, attracting to its doorsteps entertainers and guests of all colors. But you really can't talk about the Hippodrome and not mention the beautiful mansion, which resides directly next to it. This is the Taylor Mansion. The mansion was renovated in 1907 by the architect John A. Langford, but originally it was the home of the Reverend William Lee Taylor, a leader in the United Order of the True Reformers, one of the several Negro fraternal organizations here in Jackson Ward. The mansion is also credited as being the largest home of an African American in the United States, with over 14,000 square feet of luxury and with over 33 rooms. Today, it functions as the Mansion 526, a speakeasy grill which specializes in southeastern cuisine. It was renovated as part of the Hippodrome venues. The main dining area is located in the formal parlors of the home, and the Hippodrome VIP box suites were the original bedrooms. Together, these two historic buildings helped to shape the economic and the community strength of the people of Jackson Ward, the Deuce.
Hey, Miss Jones.
Hotel.
How you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, these murders are hurting our businesses. And the white folk in town, they don't give a damn. Nah, they just want to see us go down.
But we can't let that happen. We just can't.
Damn right we can't, Miller.
What did the sheriff say?
He said what we suspected he'd say.
I had to hand out the bills policy today. It is not a good feeling handing out a check for to bury your young children, gentlemen.
We must do something about this. Sheriff Mason is not going to help us.
Well, I told you so, Miss Jones.
I know, Turner.
The man would sooner see us back in slavery than to see us prosper. Damn right he would.
Just can't sit here and do nothing, damn it. Take my seat, Miss Jones. No, sir. We can't let this happen to the ward. We work too hard. We've given our blood, sweat, and tears. This is our home.
Why don't we hide outside?
Sanford? What's he gonna do for us?
He just opened up a securities office over there on Jackson Street about a month ago. I insured his office.
Yeah, but that's securities, not solving a murder.
Well, the deuce has got to be saved. Whether he's in securities or whatnot, he's all we've got. The sheriff isn't going to do anything about these deaths unless a white woman dies.
Right about that.
And we all gonna be in trouble if that happens.
Yes.
So what the hell are we gonna do?
A woman is a woman. It don't matter her color. When's a man gonna learn he can't move without us? You're the head, but we're the neck.
Oh, you go with that.
I said we hired a man. He's a good man, come from a decent family down in Petersburg.
Yeah, but he got a bad drinking problem now. I'm just saying, how we gonna rely on him to be discreet?
Oh, no, but don't go judging a man for something as natural as drinking.
Yeah.
We're doing it right now, ain't we?
Hey.
Illegally, I might add.
Didn't he serve in the war? Didn't he?
Yeah, tell he was a captain with the Harlem Hellfighters, as I recall.
That's right.
Well then, that explains why he drinks. War would turn a non-drinking man into a drinker.
Amen to that.
Well, who's going to ask him to take the job?
I just think it made it turn off.
No problem. I'll go see him.
It might be better coming from a woman. He might not turn down the request of a woman, if he's a gentleman, that is.
All right, then. Go and see him tonight before the show, Miss Jones. Tell him we need him real bad.
That's right.
I mean, y'all coming to the show tonight, ain't you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking Cab Calloway. And Mr. Calloway doesn't come this way too often.
I'm gonna be a little late, sir. I will be coming to the show this time. And I would be mighty obliged if I could escort Miss Jones after her talk with Mr. Sanford, that is.
Well, we'll see how it all goes.
Well, Mrs. Sessions, she wouldn't hear of Mr. Calloway. And this right here, this is my anniversary gift to her.
All right.
Hey, but before you go, Johnson, when should we all meet again, y'all?
Ms. Jones, have Sanford meet with us a week from now to get an update on the case. We've got to put an end to this matter soon.
Yes.
Things getting mighty riled up in the world lately.
Mighty riled up.
Tell you.
This is the corner of Jackson and 2nd Street. On this corner stood several businesses, including an insurance company, a tailor shop, and private homes. Today, this building is being renovated as an apartment building and sits in close proximity to I-95, the interstate whose creation would cut the ward in half in 1954, forcing 2nd Street to end essentially a few feet away from here. No longer extending into what is now called Gilpin Court off of Chamberlain Avenue. But make no mistake about it, in the 1920s, Jackson Street was part of the heart of the economic and social entertainment of Jackson Ward.
Mr. Sanford, there's someone here to see you. We have company, Mr. Sanford. Please. Put that away. You can get in trouble for that. We need this.
Who is?
Mrs. Perdisha Jones.
And she's here to see me? What would a rich woman like her want with me?
This is a security firm, ain't it?
Mr. Sanford, it is a real pleasure to meet you.
Mrs. Jones, the pleasure is mine.
Mr. Sanford,
Please, call me sir. There's no need for you to be formal with me, Miss Jones.
Sir, we need your help. You have heard of the recent murders, haven't you?
Yes, I have. But what has that to do with me?
I am here as a representative of the businessmen and women of Jackson Ward. These hellacious murders, Mr. Sanford, sir, are beginning to hurt our businesses. Folks are starting to leave the ward, taking their business elsewhere, saying that the ward is too dangerous.
I can understand that. White folks have always said an excuse not to buy from the Negroes around here.
Sir, we're not talking about white folks. Negroes in the ward are taking their business out of here. We can't afford to let that happen. Many of us have worked too long and hard to grow stable, financially secured businesses that support this community, to see our people turn on us. This killer is dumping bodies off in Jackson Ward like it's a dump yard. You've got to stop it.
Me? Mrs. Jones, I'm a security firm, not the police. You need to go to Sheriff Mason. This is his job.
Don't you think we tried that? Sheriff Mason is more than happy that the bodies are being dumped here and not in the city of Richmond. He said this is our problem.
But I'm a security firm, Mrs. Jones.
Securities is the same as investigations. We want these murders to stop, or we all will be out of business.
Who is this we you keep talking about?
All right, I'll play this game. We is myself, Prometheus Jackson, Preston Miller, Raymond Turner, William Session, and Jack Johnson. And we are willing to pay you whatever you want to take this job. The ward ain't got nobody else to help it, sir.
What exactly do you want for me to do? I don't have any experience in this sort of thing, you know.
Talk to people. The ward is open and kind to its own. Visit the places where those poor women were murdered and their families. You know, stuff like that. We want these murders to stop, sir. Do you understand?
How much you gonna pay me?
How about $100 a week until you solve the murders and bring the murderer to justice? Here is $400 to start.
Mrs. Jones, how are we gonna bring a murderer to justice if the sheriff won't do nothing for us now?
The good Lord always metes out justice.
This is the Lee Street Armory, a National Historic Landmark as of 2009. It was built in 1895 by Negroes in the city of Richmond to be the home of the 1st Battalion Virginia Volunteers, an all-Negro regiment of the Army. This building is among the most monumental remaining in Jackson Ward after the construction of I-95 had ravished the neighborhood in the 1950s. It stands as the oldest surviving armory in the state of Virginia, and quite possibly the oldest African-American armory in the nation. In the early 1900s, Richmond was a heavily segregated town. It refused to share its space with the Negro veterans and soldiers when they returned home from the Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II. This tower was built to provide rest and refuge for these heroic men. The light, which hung gallantly above in the bell tower, shone brightly over the community, a sort of beacon of love and protection over its very charges. It has even served as a space for the Monroe School, an elementary school for Negro children, as the school systems in Richmond were heavily segregated. This austere-looking building played a pivotal role in the lives of the people of Jackson Ward from the time of the laying of the first brick until the late 1970s, when the roof had been burned beyond repair, leaving the building uninhabitable. It will remain a desolate, bleak reminder of its once glorious yet forgotten past, the Black Wall Street. Today, it is now under renovations to house Richmond's only Black History Museum. And when it reopens its doors yet again, what stories will it have to share with the world?
This don't make no sense.
Lord Jesus, help us, please.
All these murders.
Sister, Lord,
all
and
these
another
murders.
one, please, Lord.
Why don't we do something about this?
Cause we's Negroes, they just gonna let it go.
They's killing our women, man.
Now you good people of the ward need to go on home and let the police do their job. This here is a crime scene. We do not need y'all making any unnecessary trouble for the police. Now get before I have you arrested for trespassing.
Gonna be trouble for you if this ain't stopped.
I see you ain't been able to stop these murders. Well, you might as well come along and see, since these here people have taken it upon themselves to hire a detective. A nigger detective. Who ever heard of such a thing, Sanford? An army man turned nigger detective.
It's the damnedest thing I ever seen, Sheriff.
Don't act like you ain't seen a dead body before, bro.
I meant the clothes, sir.
Open day. Just like the other. What you know about this boy?
I don't know anything, Sheriff.
You killing these nigger girls, Sanford?
No, sir. I don't kill innocent women.
You was in the war, and you mean to tell me you ain't never killed nobody, and you expect me to believe that?
I ain't never killed innocent women, sir.
Don't you even think about leaving this town, Sanford. I ain't done with you.
Don't worry, Sheriff. I ain't got nowhere to go.
And stay out of my way. I'm investigating this now, and if I find you meddling where you ain't got no business, I'll lock you up where you belong, boy.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Mason. How may I help you?
Where's your nigger boss?
He's out, sir.
Out where, girl?
Doing some work, sir.
Don't play me stupid, child. I know what he was hired by them so-called businessmen. Niggers really to do. If it was up to me, nobody'd give a damn about a bunch of nigger women dying.
Yes, sir.
What's your name, girl? Stop your damn shuffling, Brody.
Lena Johnson? Mrs. Lena Johnson?
You that boxer's wife, ain't you?
Mm-hmm.
Amos Johnson. Had an ugly nigger like him. Got a fine girl like you.
Is that all, Sheriff Mason?
This ain't none of your damn business.
The women folk and the ward are my business. Especially if the law ain't trying to protect them. Now, this is a respectable business that has not broken the law. And this here married woman, she's just doing her job. Has she done a fine job of it, sir?
Sheriff Mason, we've got to head on over to Broad Street, sir, for that meeting, sir.
You just tell him I'm watching him.
My Lord, I didn't think he was going.
Oh, don't worry now, dear. Don't worry. Let me get you some water. Oh, everything is gonna be just fine. You hear me? Here you go.
Thank you. He's a scary man.
Oh, he's no more scary than any other man. They all think they can bully a woman just because she ain't one of them. You just got to show them you ain't afraid.
I tried to, but when I had to look him in his eyes, I just saw...
He's gone now, baby. He's gone. I came by to get an update from Si.
He went out to talk to some people about those poor women.
Oh, good. Now, you just need to go on home, Miss Lena, and get your nerves back.
But I can't. I got work to do.
There's nothing that can't wait until tomorrow. You just leave him a note.
Thank you.
This is Lee Street, but during the 1920s, it was affectionately known as Quality Row because of the Italianate-style housing. More than 90% of the residents in Jackson Ward during the 1920s owned their homes. These homes. Maids, butlers, teachers, businessmen, and women, they all could partake in the American dream of home ownership here in Jackson Ward. And they lived side by side, sharing in that dream. Virginia's first licensed and renowned Negro architect, Charles T. Russell, had a hand in remodeling many of the homes here on Quality Row, including the front porch of the first woman to charter and to serve as president of an American bank, Maggie L. Walker. He did such a stellar job, she hired him to remodel her bank, the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank on St. James Street, which has since been demolished. All that remains of it today is an empty field. In 1978, much of Quality Row and a few select buildings in Jackson Ward, including Maggie L. Walker's home, were classified as a National Historic Landmark District. Yet even as we film today, non-designated portions of this historic neighborhood are being demolished. Parking lots, condominiums, and hotels will soon be in their place.
Oh, Lena Johnson, This is Jeffrey Peterson. He is the son of a dear close family friend.
Pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Johnson.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
Oh, Jeffrey stopped by to see me. It really has been such a while, Jeffrey. Since way before the death of your mother, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear your mother's passing. Was she ill?
Heart attack, doctor said, and seems as though my poor father is ill as well, unfortunately.
Dear Lord, what's wrong with Elijah? Is he okay, I mean?
No. Stomach cancer, they say.
Oh, Lord, no.
I just came by to ask for prayers as you are a dear friend to my parents and believe so firmly in a higher power.
It's just a shame, all this death going around. Lena herself just experienced a tragic loss. Did you read the Planet yet?
Yes. The unfortunate gentleman who died last night, he was related to you?
Amos was my husband.
God rest his soul.
Do you not believe in the higher power, as you call it, Mr. Peterson?
Oh, I most certainly will. I will go and see him tomorrow. In fact, Jeffrey, after church.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you under these difficult circumstances, and I hope all ends well with your family.
I hope the same for you, Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you.
Well, I should be leaving anyway. I'm preparing myself this evening for the black and white ball.
Oh, yes.
I take it that you will be there, Miss Jones, as usual?
Yes, I will. And I'm coming with a special friend of mine.
Oh, well, I hope to see you then.
He's a strange one. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Jones. I didn't mean no disrespect.
Oh, no, Lena. There's none taken. He did seem a little strange to me. He always was a little different, even as a child. Well, I guess the death of his mother must have him shaken. I suppose. It's only natural, right?
Miss Jones, is Si your guest this evening?
Yes, he is. Didn't he tell you? He came by to see me yesterday seeking an invitation. Something to do with the case, you know.
Yeah, it must have slipped his mind with everything that's been happening.
I'm standing in front of the A.D. Price Funeral Home, one of the oldest funeral parlors in Richmond and in Jackson Ward. Its founder, Alfred D. Price, was born in Hanover County into slavery in 1860. He and his family moved to Richmond in the late 1870s. Soon after coming to Richmond, he set up a blacksmith shop, which expanded into a livery stable, and the funeral home, which stands here, now known as the A.D. Price Funeral Establishment. In August of 1894, Price became one of the first funeral directors in Virginia to receive a state embalming license. But this building served a more informal function. On the third floor, residents of the ward would host fancy balls and other such gay affairs. Just as with the Hippodrome, people wanted to rub shoulders with their favorite Negro stars like Bill Bojangles Robinson and Duke Ellington, who always found their way to the ward to play for their people or to relax and have a good time. And there was no better place to do that in style than here on the third floor of the A.D. Price Funeral Home.
Damn shame.
About that young girl, ain't it? You got any more information on her, Sanford?
No, sir. Haven't got any more news for you yet.
Better not let me catch him. I'll whip his ass from here to New York. Sick bastard.
My apologies, Mr. Sanford. Look, these murders got us all a little riled up here. And Mr. Sessions, we need to speak with you.
What for, man? I ain't done talking to Sanford. You know, fucking ruin it. If you don't catch the whoever's been killing her, you know that, right? No one wants to fucking say it out loud. But you ain't done shit to help us.
Come on, Session. You're beginning to make a scene. We don't need that right now.
Mr. Miller, you need to get him out of here. He's going to mess things up. Damn! He gone. I gotta get back.
What?
Where are you heading out in this cold weather, Mrs. Johnson?
Oh, I have to pick up a few things from my home.
Well, I just dropped a friend off and I can take you home now.
Sure, why not? Yes. Thank you.
You're beautiful, you know that?
Thank you.
They don't deserve you.
Who are you talking about?
That beast of a man, Amos. And Cy. Tell me what it is that you see in a man like that.
You've been watching me?
Don't cry, Mrs. Johnson.
What are you gonna do to me? Are you gonna kill me like you did the others?
Those others weren't like you. You're special.
Sixth Mount Zion Baptist Church is a historic African American Baptist church. The sanctuary was built in 1887 and expanded after its renovation in 1925, again by its architect, Charles T. Russell. Sixth Mount Zion was originally organized in an abandoned Confederate horse stable on Browns Island on the banks of the James River before permanently making its home here. In 1996, it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This church is most notably famous as being the home of the African American evangelist John Jasper, author of the famous sermon which challenged the facts of astronomy regarding the sun and its rotation around the earth. The sun do move. The church is still very much active in the community of Jackson Ward today.
Hello, Cy. May I join you?
What do you want? I ain't broke no laws.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No problem. As far as I know, you haven't done nothing wrong, Cy. Listen, been watching these past couple of days. I know you suspect something about that Peterson fella. That why you followed him to St. Philip's Hospital? He's got something to do with those murders.
Yeah, he does.
I want to help you, Si.
How you gonna help me, deputy? Sheriff Mason ain't gonna let you work with no nigga to help solve no murders. He probably done figured out this case himself.
Nah.
I'm looking for a way to pin it on me.
Nah.
You could be setting me up. No! You can't help me. Not now. Things are gone too far. Farther than you can imagine. You just stay out the way so you don't get hurt.
There's gotta be something I can do to help. Talk to Sheriff Mason.
Smart man. You know how you can help me, deputy?
How's that?
Pay for my coffee and stay out my way.
Son, wait! Son! Damn.
Need this, you know.
Who are you and why are you trespassing in my car?
Trespassing. You and I have other more important things to worry about than trespassing. Don't we? You killed those women, Peterson. And your father.
You can't prove anything.
Where is she, Peterson?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, if you would give me that thing so that I may be on my way.
Not until you tell me where she is.
Who?
You're gonna pay for this. You hurt her, and now I'll kill you. I got something that'll take you out your misery. Damn it!
I got a tip that you responsible for the death of Amos Johnson. That right? Don't matter much to me if one nigga kill another, but I believe you's responsible for killing those nigga girls too. Search your place, boys. fried, nigga.
I'm gonna save me.
Oh my God! Look what they've done to him!
Oh,
help me get my press.
Come on, Sam.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Damn it! What are we gonna do now? The killer ain't been caught yet.
I don't know, but we might have worse problems than this coming.
What do you mean?
I've been following some news out of New York. Ain't you been reading the headlines?
Hell no, I ain't read no
Wall
news.
Street's in bad trouble, Preston. Some people predicting it might crash. And if it does, Negroes ain't got a chance. None of this will matter. These murders.
Damn.
We're gonna lose our businesses anyway.
Where's me?
What'd you say, Sanford?
He took.
Who? Took who?
That killer. He took me.
You mean to tell me you know who the killer is? Sanford! Wake up!
You gotta get me out here. What's too late for this? He gonna kill us.
What's going on here, boys? You're not thinking about taking him out of here. He is a murderer.
Sheriff Mason, this man ain't no killer.
That shows how much you know, boy. We have a witness to this crime. He put him here in the barbershop on the night of Amos's murder. And we found some incriminating evidence in his apartment.
Well, who was it that called, Sheriff? If you don't mind me asking.
Just got a phone call about it.
Well, Sheriff, I don't mean to tell you no wrong, but Sanford was with us all night that night at a meeting.
You lying to me, boy. You trying to save his hide from
No such, Sheriff. We ain't doing no such thing. I mean, we got 20 upstanding citizens from Richmond and the ward willing to swear to it.
Now, did he admit to the killing, sir?
He ain't said nothing since we brought him in.
Sheriff Mason, whoever called you was mistaken. Sanford worked with us. We were at a meeting the night that Amos Johnson was murdered. Who knows what might have happened that night, sir? Or maybe a jealous husband had had enough of the man playing with his wife. You know how that is, don't you, Sheriff Mason?
He killing nigger girls too. We have evidence in his room.
What kind of evidence, sir?
None of your damn business. But if you must know, we found a pair of bloody hosiery in his room.
Now, Sheriff Mason, you of all people know that things aren't always what they seem. I mean, take for example, how can a man be trespassing on another man's property from 30 feet away and be shot dead?
You threatening me, boy?
No, sir. He's not doing no such thing. Preston here just reminding you that folks ain't forgot some things, and with re-election coming up next year, you know.
Get him out of my jail.
Watch out.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
What's going on? I got him.
So, what
happened, Bill?
Where'd you get him from? Where'd you bring him in from?
At the jail. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. They beat that poor boy. Oh, Jesus.
Somebody give him some water, man. Call the doctor.
Like that.
Oh,
Sheriff Mason.
How many men?
Oh, I can't stand it
Hold
no
on,
more,
Mr.
Jesus, Lord. They just keep doing this to me. This poor man, they beat him like that. Lord Jesus.
What's going on? She dead, ain't she?
Dear Lord.
It ain't so right.
We found her body early this morning in the James River. She'd been beaten and strangled, looks like. Come on.
You sure?
Sam, you said you knew who the murderer was. Do you really?
Sanford, there's nothing you can do about her now, but you can save another woman's life if you tell us who the killer is, Sanford. We've got to know. Who is he?
Come on, Sam.
Is it you?
No, it can't be Sam. No.
I only ask of what Sheriff Mason, the hosiery.
What is he talking about? Hosiery.
I blacks out sometimes. I don't know where they came from. I must have picked them up on one of my walks. I can't sleep. I walk sometimes. But I don't kill women.
Then who is it, Sanford?
You won't believe me. What should I tell you?
Sad.
Come on, man.
Sanford. Now you told me one time you thought it was one of us could be the killer. Somebody from the ward. That don't matter. Look, he's a killer and he must be brought to justice.
That's right.
It's been going on too long.
Yes, sir. Tell us. Oh, my God. Oh. You can do
Jeffrey Peterson.
Oh, hell no.
Come on, Sanford. You mean Elijah and Catherine Peterson's son? Oh, Sanford, come on now. There's no way. They're good people.
The boy graduated from Union with honors years ago.
Elijah passed away Saturday night, gentlemen.
My Lord, my Lord.
He came to my house unexpectedly earlier that afternoon. I was rather surprised to see him, since it had been so long since his mother died.
Yeah, but Mrs. Jones, that doesn't make him a killer.
He acted strange to me, especially when Lena came in. He couldn't stop staring at her. Made me rather embarrassed.
Hold on now, gentlemen. Let me think. I went to see Elijah's doctor the morning I got the news. The doctor, Dr. Howard, said the more he thought about it, the more suspicious Elijah's death seemed.
What do you mean, suspicious?
He was the last one to see his father alive.
What?
I checked that night before the sheriff came and got me.
Is he right, Turner? So, Turner, you gonna print this in the paper tomorrow?
I ain't decided yet.
What about the police? Are you going to report this to the sheriff?
No. The sheriff thinks Si's the killer.
That's right.
If we go back to him with this now, it'll make matters worse.
Yes.
He killed Lena.
And them poor girls. Miss Sarah Young.
All right.
Oh, Jesus Lord.
So what are we gonna do about this, huh? Peterson will be out of jail in a few hours. Have an attorney by the end of the week. The police not gonna help us.
That ain't gonna happen.
What you mean?
I ain't gonna stand by and let him get away with murder.
What you talking about, Sanford?
No, sir.
You can't do nothing about him now, Mr. Sanford. You ain't in no shape. Let's just come back and talk about it tomorrow.
But what if another woman dies because of him tonight? What if he kills again before we can stop him before tomorrow? You ain't got no answer, do you? know he done killed these women, and you just gonna sit on it till tomorrow?
Come on now, Mrs. Jones, don't keep your voice.
No, I will not keep quiet.
Calm down, please.
That pretty young lady. She loved Mr. Sanford. She was full of life. All of them. I don't care if he's the son of the President of the United States of America. He's got to pay for what he's done. He's got to pay.
I'll take care of him, Mrs. Jones.
But you ain't in no condition.
It don't matter. Mrs. Jones is right. He gonna kill again if we don't do something about it. Tonight. You've seen what this man can do. He's gotta be stopped. If we don't stop him, he gonna keep doing it. Look. You don't have to know what I'm going to do. None of you do. That way you won't be in trouble with the law.
But Mr. Sanford,
please. Go now. I gotta go see Lena. Where do they happen?
She's priceless. I'll take care of the arrangements. I feel so responsible. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus, Lord.
It's not your fault, Mrs. Jones. I was supposed to protect her. Not you. It's gonna be all right now.
But how are we gonna know? How will we know?
Mr. Jackson, I promise you that tomorrow will be a day you will never forget.
This was once the site of the home of one of the flourishing Negro newspapers in Jackson Ward, the Richmond Planet. Its most notorious editor, John Mitchell Jr., was described as a man who would walk through the jaws of death to serve his race. Mitchell was one of the most respected Negro leaders of his day. As the crusading editor of the Richmond Planet, he defied lynch mobs, vigorously promoted black economic self-sufficiency, and staged nonviolent protests long before the modern-day civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. The Richmond Planet featured weekly protests and visceral protestations against one of the most brutal crimes of the 20th century, the lynching of Negroes in the American South. Ironically, the one piece of national news that the newspaper failed to warn or truly mention to its readers was of the impending stock market crash of October of 1929. Many prominent Negro families kept their monies in other more established banks other than Maggie Walker's St. Luke's Penny Savings Bank, which at that time was still running autonomously. It had not yet merged with other institutions. So, when the stock market crashed on Black Tuesday, October 29th, 1929, there was no mention of it in the Planet. But the ramifications would soon be felt far and wide, not just in white America, but even here in the Black Wall Street, the Harlem of the South.
So you were right about the market, I see.
Yes, unfortunately.
We're ruined, you know. All those years of hard work, they're gone.
Oh, we'll recover, Miller. Especially the ward. We're a strong people that has seen and been through much. We may be down now, but we're not out. I refuse to accept that.
Have you heard anything from Sanford? Oh my God, he did it. He was right under our noses. Poor Elijah. Is this blood?
Police found Jeffrey in his home. He had been stabbed many times. Found him tied up.
Where's Sanford?
I don't know. Haven't seen him since we were over at his place yesterday. You think he did this?
I'd bet my life on it. Well, are you gonna print this?
I ain't decided yet. But we got bigger issues coming, don't you think?
I thought you said we'd be okay. Now it sounds like you done changed your mind.
Oh, I ain't changed my mind, but I ain't no fool. The whole country's in trouble, Preston, not just the ward. We've got a lot of work to do. And so do I. So, if you'll excuse me.
I'm gonna go find Sanford.
Something tells me you ain't never gonna find him. If he don't want to be found.
Brothers and sisters, lend me your ear. Just listen and you will hear the history that created this great legacy. Black Wall Street.
I said a wall.